Welcome back, everyone, to Let's Play The Lurking Horror. I'm the Mysterious JG, and last time we went to sleep, we had a nightmare. We woke up to another nightmare. A nightmare we couldn't wake up from. So yeah, if you go to sleep in this game, a fanged creature grabs you. And no, Kalis, it isn't sexy, because it basically kills you. So, we're at the top floor and look around, it doesn't tell us what direction we need to go in, but we actually need to go west, though the roof door is closed. Open door. It's locked. Aha! Unlock door with master key. Master P. And we finally need the master key that we worked so hard to get at the beginning of the game. Open door. West. Oh, sorry. You push the door open, revealing a windswept, snow-covered roof. Frigid wind whips snow into your face. West. You enter the freezing, biting cold of the blizzard. Skyscraper roof. A low parapet surrounds a small roof here. The air conditioning cooling tower and the small protrusion containing the stairs are dwarfed by a semi-transparent dome which towers above you. The blowing snow obscures all detail of the city across the river to the south. Up. You enter the freezing, biting cold of the blizzard. No, sorry, that's wrong. Inside dome. You are inside a large domed area. The dome contains equipment that makes it clear it is a weather observation station. For some reason, it also contains a small peach tree. Wind whistles outside, and snow blasts against the semi-transparent material of the dome. Something smashes against the glass of the dome. You turn and see a dark shape clinging to the outside of the structure. Look at shape. You can't tell much from here. It is large and dark, and the dome obscures all detail. The dark shape moves. Above the howl of the wind, you hear a high-pitched keening noise. Look at tree. There's a peach tree. It's a small peach tree planted in a very large tub of earth. It appears healthy, although as it is wintertime, the tree has no leaves. The shape drops out of view. Here is something I admit fully. I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to do in this room. It's obvious that because it's locked and there's a monster to deal with in here, and you can in fact deal with this monster. It didn't make sense to me that this room was worthless. We have seen in Planetfall how they will jerk you around and have, like, that game had darkened areas that you couldn't go into and no light source. I think it was like the only Infocom game that worked that way. There was also doors that it was very difficult to find a key to unlock them, but you could find a way to get to the other side of the door. And yeah, there were like areas that you were not meant to be able to access. And there were definitely areas with threats you were not always going to be able to deal with. But at this game, it generally doesn't screw with you quite that much. So when I got here and there's this big monster scrambling around outside of this glass dome trying to find a way to get at us, I figured you needed to be in here for something. This is why you need to be in here, and it's not something I figured out without looking at the online clues. Although, frankly, I got kind of impatient. Once I got on a roll, I got into that mode that you sometimes get into where you keep spoiling puzzles. Like if you can't figure them out immediately. I didn't do too much of that, but did a little. But you want to dig in the earth. You root around in the dirt for a while when you encounter something hard. Further exploration reveals it to be a dried, chewed-looking human hand. You hear on the ladder outside hard claws painfully climbing towards the dome entrance. Get hand. You're holding too many things. You can't quite get them arranged to take it as well. The creature enters the dome, screams viciously at you, its claws reaching out to grasp and rend. Inventory, I'm carrying a fire axe, plastic container. I can drop the container. Dropped. Get hand. Taken. In a snake-like strike, the creature attacks. Its toothy jaws close on your hand. Not your hand, but the mummified hand you dug out of the tub. With a disgusting gobbling noise, the flyer swallows the hand, and then, using its wings to push itself away, it scuttles out into the cold and away. Crap. Restore. Shoot. Alright, so I messed up. I used too many turns. We need the severed human hand that we find buried in the tub of earth under the peach tree. I don't get it either, folks, but we need that thing to win the game. So we're going to unlock a door with master key. Let's drop the container, the empty floor wax container we can drop here. Open door west, up, dig in earth, get, and taken. The shape drops out of view, down. Skyscraper roof. A dark shape watches balefully from nearby. The shape rises, bearing needle-sharp teeth and pumping its wings painfully in the gale. Throw stone at shape. This is the stone, and I didn't dwell on this as much as I meant to. We had a horrifying dream of evil, in which we found a glowing stone. But then we woke up, and the stone was in our hand. It was real after all. So anyway, this is the stone that we wanted to throw at the beast in the dream. And if you try to throw this stone at the beast in the dream, you miss by a mile and it kills you anyway, and you wake. And you still have the stone. But the stone would seem to be pretty key. So I'm going to throw the stone at the shape. The stone hits the dark beast and appears to go completely through it as though the creature was made of air. The smooth stone disappears over the south edge of the building, and the creature follows it, screaming frustration to the storm. Bitter, bone-cracking cold assaults you continuously. The temperatures and the blizzard conditions are both horrible. East, top floor, down, brown building, south. So we go down to the bottom of the building and then south into a courtyard. The small courtyard. This courtyard is a triumph of modern architecture. It is spare, cold, angular, overwhelming in size, and bears a striking resemblance to a wind tunnel whenever the breeze picks up. So is that making fun of modern architecture, I guess? Because it doesn't seem very nice. Right now, this is true of the whole campus, though. A huge mass lurks nearby, and an almost featureless skyscraper to the north. There is a smooth stone here. Get stone. Taken. North. And we're back into the brown building. So I've got myself confused. When I played off screen, I was... Look at flashlight. I want to make sure we haven't had it on this whole time. The flashlight is a heavy-duty shop style light. Yeah, okay, so I don't know if it's on or not. There's a different building roof that we needed to get to. Because that roof that we just went to is actually not the one that the student jumped off of. So that'll be the brown building. So let's go down to the basement again. Go northwest, the cluttered package. Up to fruit and nuts. South into the infinite corridor. There's floor wax. There's smashed glass. Large machine. Slouching nearby is an urchin. He's a youngish teenager wearing a ski hat, running shoes, and a bulky, suspiciously bumpy, threadbare parka. He's jumpy and looks suspiciously at you. There's a large machine down the hall to the east. Urchin, hello. I don't have to say anything. I ain't done nothing. He seems very nervous about talking to you. Show urchin hand. He stares at the hand, scared but holding his ground. What's that? He says, voice quavering. You are feeling tired. Up. You can't go that way. East. Up. Yeah, I knew. Okay, so in the middle of the great, of the infinite corridor, there is a way to get to the dome at the top of whatever this administrative building is. And that's what we've now done. So for those of you not watching as I type in all these commands, we went back to the hallway where we fought the possessed maintenance man, who may or may not have been a possessed maintenance man. He may simply have been a construct of the evil power, who was never a person to begin with. Either way, we went back to that corridor and went up. And we're now at the Great Dome. Here a walkway circles the base of a huge ornate dome. Below is the infinite corridor. From stories of tech exploring trips, you recall that there is supposed to be a ladder here. On the other hand, there's a shiny rope-like thing hanging near where the ladder used to be and leading upwards. Save. Look at ladder. You can't see any ladder here. Look at rope. The strand is wet and glistening. It extends upwards into the dome, leading to a narrow catwalk. Sounds like spider thread or something. Well, we just saved. Remove gloves. Climb rope. This is like a little puzzle that I kind of didn't even realize was a puzzle at first because I solved it without meaning to. You start to climb up the strand, but the glistening wet stuff begins to burn your hands. You get a few feet up before the pain is too much. You drop back to the floor. So in order to avoid wasting turns, we're going to restore. And now we still have the gloves on. We climb the rope. The wet stuff on the strand sticks to the gloves, but doesn't otherwise affect you. You have a little trouble climbing up to the catwalk, but grab the rail just before your strength gives out. You heave yourself up into the catwalk, and being a chubby computer guy, it's just as well I'm not actually having to do this. You stand up on the catwalk, catching your breath for a moment. Your eyes stray along the strand you climbed. It trails along the catwalk where it joins something large and squishy squatting at the far side. Let's do that again. Your eyes stray along the strand you climbed. It trails along the catwalk, where it joins something large and squishy squatting at the far side. A single bright blue eye opens in the squishy mass, and the tentacle, for that's what it is, retracts. The mass almost flows through the spaces in the catwalk railing and drops to the floor 15 feet below. Before you can react, it's gone. So there was some kind of like evil creature, and you climbed its tentacle to get up to this floor, and it's like it sees you and it's like, ugh, get off of me, pulls its tentacle back. Thank goodness it actually just wanders off instead of, killing you. So now we're at top of dome. Inside the great dome, near the top, a metal catwalk is precariously perched. There is no way further up, but a small metal door is set in the side of the dome. Where the pulpy mass was squatting, a wooden ladder lies on the catwalk. Lower ladder. You lower the ladder to the walkway below. It's just the right length to climb down. Open door. You open the door, and freezing air, blowing snow, and howling wind enter and whip around you. East. You can't go that way. Oh, west. North. Where was the door? The door was to the north. Roof of Great Dome. You are perched precariously on the roof of the Great Dome. Now, you see, I went to school, and I never really got to climbing around on the outside at the roof level of any of the structures at my university. You are perched precariously on the roof of the Great Dome. A set of narrow indentations in the dome provides a dangerous route to the very tip-top of the dome. Up. You scramble up icy surfaces of the dome, almost slipping a few times, but finally you make it to the top. And this is where I have to admit the text adventures can kind of let you down a bit, because you do tend to get in the habit of just skipping past the text. Modern gamers don't have the patience to actually read blocks of text. And this is where graphics of you climbing up and the graphics of snow and sound effects of winter air would really create atmosphere, whereas the patience required to actually read this and really get into the idea of this biting cold of the blizzard, unless the blizzard levels of cold kill you frequently, it's not even registering. You're just like, go east, go north, go up. I have to admit, this is, as much as I like the adventure games, this is where they can sometimes kind of let it down a little bit. Because, yeah, we're in a blizzard climbing on the outside of a building. It's sort of intrinsically exciting, but it's the kind of thing that sometimes works better in a movie than in a book. And in this case, works better in a graphical game than in a text game. But we scramble up the icy surface of the dome, almost slipping a few times, but finally we make it to the top, on the Great Dome. This is the very top of the Great Dome, a favorite place for tech fraternities to install cows, Volkswagen Beetles, giant birthday candles, and other bizarre objects. The top is flat, round, and about 5 feet in diameter. It's very windy, which has kept the snow from accumulating here. The only way off is down. In the exact center of the flat area is a bronze plug. Bitter, bone-cracking cold assaults you continuously. The temperature and the blizzard conditions are both horrible. Get plug. You're holding too many things and you can't quite get them all arranged with you. Drop axe. Get plug. Drop crowbar. You can feel the cold worming its way through your layers of clothing and biting into your flesh. Get plug. You pry the plug out of its socket, revealing a cylindrical hole about the same diameter but somewhat deeper. There's a piece of paper in the hole. Drop plug, get paper, crowbar, and axe. It won't let me grab them all. Shoot. Inventory. Carrying a piece of paper, a smooth stone, a human hand, a knife, a metal flask, a flashlight, a master key, 2-liter bottle of Coke. Okay, I've got to get down, or I'm going to freeze. Push your way into the welcoming warmth inside. Drop flask. North. Up. Get crowbar and axe. It won't let me get the axe. Damn. I'm getting more and more tired. Drop crowbar. We need these things. We can't. They are not giving us that much inventory to work with. I refuse to let go of the axe in a game where we're fighting so many nasty things. It still won't let me take the axe. I've got a piece of paper, a smooth stone, a human hand. Well, I can read the paper. Actually, I think I might need the paper. There's nothing in my inventory that I don't think I'm going to need. Let's drop the Coke for a minute. Really hope that urchin doesn't show up. Get axe. Get Coke. Drop axe. Okay, so apparently the top of the dome is going to be our place where we keep items. Hopefully that little kid won't be wandering up here stealing stuff. Get Coke. Read paper. You unroll the piece of paper and read the shaky handwriting. I can no longer face what I've been doing. I can't sleep. I start at the slightest noise, and even dulling my senses with alcohol or drugs is no longer enough. I refuse to participate in what he is doing anymore. Either he is insane or I am insane, or, and this is what I fear most, the universe itself is insane. I have only one final warning. I am the only suicide, but I will not be the final death. The name signed to it is that of the Alchemy Department graduate student. Down, down, east, east, south, chemistry building. Save our game, and let's go confront the professor. The Professor and Marianne, here on Gilligan's University that's being attacked by evil creatures from another dimension. Okay. So we're at the chemistry building. We have seen the note. We even have it in case we need to give it to the professor. So we're going to knock on the door. That sentence isn't one I recognize because I said knock door. Knock on door. You knock on the door. The hollow sound reverberates down the hall. You sort of wish you would knock more softly. You are worn out. Drink Coke. Delicious. Contains caffeine, one of the 4 basic food groups. Too bad they make it with fructose these days instead of sucrose. You feel much more alert and awake now. Wait. Department of Alchemy. Taped to the wall to the right of the alchemy is a sign-up sheet. The professor is here. Oh, sorry. The door opens partway, revealing a professional man in a white lab coat. He smiles. Back for another visit, are you? He ushers you into a room without waiting for an answer, closing the door behind you. Show Professor note. He reads it carefully. What drivel? Yes, I forgot to make him spooky. What drivel? This just confirms my suspicions. He had clearly gone over the edge. Drug use, drinking, insanity. It's only too bad that I didn't realize what was happening. I might have helped him. The professor continues to gaze at you with a distinctly predatory air. So wait a few turns. I thought he was going to do something. South. Ah, you'd like to see the lab? The professor asks in a rather unctuous tone. Come right in. He ushers you through the archway into the lab, following quickly behind you and turning on the lights. The lab is an ultra-modern, fully equipped chemistry lab. Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, you aren't a chemistry major, so the equipment might as well be magical. The professor is here. I need to take a drink. Non-alcoholic. Although a little alcohol might steady my nerves now that we are in the spooky lab. There's a lab bench and an alchemy department computer here. Sitting on the lab bench is a vat. The vat contains Atari liquid. The professor guides you to the center of the lab, spelled C-E-N-T-E-R, Zerful, in case you wanted to spell it R-E, where a strange pentagonal symbol is chalked on the floor. He cuts one of the chalk lines with a small knife you had not previously noticed. Oh, that's not a good thing. He's good at concealing small knives. Pushes you into the center of the chalked symbol and redraws the line, muttering softly and rhythmically as he does so. There, that's done. Don't move from there. It'll only make things worse for you. He makes some odd gestures to the archway and then goes over to the lab bench. Save on slot 3. North. You find it very hard to move. Your feet reach the chalk line and then seem to meet resistance, though there is nothing there but the chalk. The professor is preparing something at the lab bench. Alchemy is my chosen field, and I've gotten ridiculed for it. It's like chemistry, except that chemists don't recognize that some natural laws are enforced by persons, not physics. Some of them will grant power or knowledge, but they must be placated or even bribed. They are not of this earth, not demons or devils, and they aren't always friendly. To me it's just an unpleasant necessity on the path to power. When I'm done, they won't laugh any more. Professor, help. There is no response. Cut chalk with knife, because we have a knife too. You cut the outer lines of the pentagram. It no longer completely encloses you. The professor sees what you've done out of the corner of his eye. He quickly slides over and redraws the pentagram. This time he performs a thorough search, removing all your possessions, tut-tutting all the while. See, this is ridiculous. Like, you don't resist him at all. So we need to restore, because in fact we do need to cut the chalk line, but we need to wait. Like, basically a moment longer than I did. The professor enters another pentagram and begins a highly choreographed ritual. This may seem a little silly to you, but the symbology is what's important. Certain alignments, certain aspects. In a few moments it won't matter anyway, he remarks. There is very little room for error here, so be calm. He chants, he brandishes strange instruments, moves about inside the pentagram, and occasionally points to you. It becomes clear exactly what he meant by the word bribe. Let's just wait it out and see what happens. I mean, this is, after all, a unique death that's coming. Time passes. The chant grows more complex, with rhythms and cadences that make you want to stop your ears. The room appears to be getting darker. A thick black mist begins to form in the room. Parts are darker and parts lighter, and the dark parts form a disturbing shape. The professor chants and calls more loudly now, and you realize the calls are being answered. The room is now freezing cold, though the windows are shuttered and tightly curtained. Low, bone-rattling vibrations shake the room in cadence with the chant. The black mist is growing thicker. The professor chants more rapidly, producing strange guttural sounds, scarcely human. The black mist swirls wildly around the room, and a deep bass voice gibbers out of thin air. The professor's brow drips with sweat. The bass voice starts singing Ring of Fire. No, that's not actually true, folks. A thing like a tentacle with a demonic face wraps slowly around you. The room recedes into a great distance as you are pulled away. Before you die, you see what the tentacle is a part of. You have died. We have a score of 45 out of 100, so we are now a graduate student. But let us restore. And we will wait until he steps into... He enters another pentagram and begins his ritual. And he's pointing at you and blah, blah, blah. But now we cut pentagram with knife. You cut the outer lines of the pentagram. It no longer completely encloses you. The professor sees what you've done out of the corner of his eye. He stares horrified. Stop, don't move, he says between verses of the chant. The chant takes on a pleading tone. The chant grows more complex, the professor having difficulty with the almost unpronounceable words, with rhythms and cadences that make you want to stop your ears. The room appears to be getting darker. Now, I'm going to kind of... You don't really have a lot of turns to work with here, folks. I happen to know we need to turn on the flashlight. We want to look around the room. The lab is ultra-modern, fully equipped chemistry lab. Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, blah, blah, blah. The professor is performing a strange ritual. There's a mist, a lab bench, and an alchemy department computer here. Sitting on the lab bench is a vat. The vat contains Atari liquid. So if we try to go north, you find the archway barred by a force you can't push through. At this point, we don't really have enough turns left probably to win. However, this is another one. I had to kind of look for a hint here because you can't get out of the room. And there is a lab bench. You need to look under the bench. Or rather, we need to know what's under the bench to solve the puzzle. You can see a metal plate beneath the bench. Only part of it is visible. And we get killed because we ran out of turns. So let's try pushing the bench. Oh, my hand won't pass over the chalk line, so I need to restore. I think I need to restore slot 1, right? Yeah. Let's push the bench. You can't reach the lab bench from within the pentagram. Oh, we have to exit the pentagram. Exit pentagram. You push your way through a soft spot just over the scuff marks and are outside the pentagram. The air is thick and close. Push bench. It's heavy, but it moves, revealing a hinged metal trapdoor beneath. Open trapdoor. The room is now freezing cold through the windows are shuttered tightly. The professor is alternating looking at you and at the mist. Okay, see, the text changes slightly. When you're outside, the professor is now alternating looking at you in the mist. And we open the trapdoor. It swings open easily. The black mist swirls wildly around the room, and a deep bass voice gibbers out of thin air. "No!" screams the professor, and jumps towards you out of his own pentagram. He realizes what he has done and tries to re-enter, but the mist grabs at him. Down. Cinder block tunnel. Oh, maybe we didn't need to turn on the flashlight, or did I turn it on and then save? From above you hear a thunderous noise, maniacal scream. So we go down the trapdoor, and we're in Cinder block tunnel, a room we had been in previously, folks. You may recall there was a room with a trapdoor in the ceiling, but it wouldn't open because there was something on top of it. That something was the bench. We moved the bench. We escaped. From above you hear a thunderous noise, a maniacal scream, and then the sound of equipment smashing. The trapdoor slams shut, but around it pours a blinding flash of light. Finally, you hear an almost inaudible whimper, then nothing. The light fades, leaving you in the dark. Open trapdoor. It pushes open easily. Up. One should never assume the dark is safe. Ah, damn it. I guess I hadn't turned on the flashlight. Okay, I'm going to quickly run through all of what we needed to do. Exit pentagram. Push bench. Open trapdoor. Turn on flashlight. And that was too many turns, and we died. They give you no room to maneuver here, folks. You have like exactly as many turns as you need. Exit pentagram. Push bench. Open trapdoor. I mean, you can turn on the flashlight before you enter the room. Excuse me, but I hate wasting the batteries. Down. We're in the tunnel. Turn on flashlight. The flashlight clicks on. Up. Trapdoor isn't open. Open trapdoor. Up. The lab is a shambles. It looks like something red and sticky has been spread over the walls, ceiling, and floor. Raspberry jam, presumably. Much of the equipment, particularly that near the center of the room, has been destroyed. There is an open metal plate in the floor. There's a brass hyrax, a piece of paper, a lab bench, and an alchemy department computer here. Sitting on the lab bench is a vat. The vat contains Atari liquid. Get hyrax. Taken. Look at hyrax. The GUE Tech class ring is a gold ring depicting a hyrax eating a twig. Such rings are familiarly known as brass hyraxes. Look at vat. This is a large vat, a couple of liters at least, glass or Pyrex vat. It has a label stuck to it. The vat contains Atari liquid. Read label. The text is a long chemical-sounding name typed on a label affixed to the container. Below is written in pencil, elixir of life. Inventory. Well, we have a brass ring, a 2-liter bottle of classic Coke, a smooth stone, a severed human hand, a knife, a flashlight providing light, which we are not going to turn off because I believe this room is also dark, and a master key. I'm wearing a pair of rubber boots and a pair of electrician's gloves. What do you say, folks? what do you say we use one of these items with the elixir of life? Which of these items do you think would be an interesting combination to use with the elixir of life? Think about that, folks. And when we come back next time, we will try to bring life to one of these objects. Will we have a living bottle of classic Coke? I don't know, folks. Well, I do know, actually. And no, it's not that one. Well, but we'll definitely have some more spooky goings on next time. We have, at this point, the two people responsible for visiting this lurking horror upon the university are both gone. The graduate student killed himself, and the professor, attempting to murder us to cover up the truth, instead was hoist on his own petard. They're both gone, folks, but whatever thing he brought here is still here, and we're the only ones who can stop it. Because, we're the actual heroes of the game. So we'll get to working on that some more next time, folks. I'm Mysterious JG. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you then. Goodbye, and beware, etc.